Madras South. It took him 124 days and he touched all state capitals and railway headquarters. Between July 2013 and June 2014, he did four more solo national expeditions by car. The most spectacular feat was in 2014. He drove from Cochin to London in 75 days across 27 countries and over 24,000 kilometers. Later, he drove solo from Cochin to Singapore and back in 77 days. He successfully completed the Trans-Himalayan expedition solo in 2015, August to September 2015. And last year, he completed the 21,000 kilometers Trans-Siberian expedition from Chennai to St. Petersburg, Russia, through Myanmar and China. He currently holds 12 national driving records. Suresh Joseph is an excellent writer too. He has written 5 books, of which 4 are travelogues. They deal with his various automobile expeditions. One of them is titled The Journal of a Railwayman's Epic Journey to London. Another is The Journal of a Railwayman's Journey Through India. A 6th book describes his Trans-Siberian expedition. See, my introduction of Suresh Joseph will not be complete if I don't mention about his father, late Mr. M.K. Joseph, who was the DGP of Kerala, who retired as a DGP and he is no more. See, he too was a man of many parts. He had his interest in sports, in theatre, and also in journalism. Incidentally, Suresh is my wife's closest first cousin. This evening, he will tell us about his driving adventures across continents. He says his motto as an automobile traveler is "Goodwill knows no boundaries." Over to Suresh.
Good evening, friends. Good evening. After the introduction which Mr. Madhu had circulated and what Ranjit has now done, it leaves me with very little to speak.
What happens always?
This is what happens normally. And also, on these 9 expeditions which were detailed, I have traveled for close to 360 days. And now these 360 days have to be summarized in 25 minutes, I was told. It's a very difficult task, but what I thought was, I have addressed many gatherings like this, very august attendees. There have been a lot of questions asked of me, so I have what is called the frequently asked questions. So I thought I will start with that, so that I will also encroach into the 10 minutes that you have to ask questions. Many of this I will cover. So in a sense, I'm going to start with the dessert and we will work upwards to the starters. The often asked question is as to why I travel alone and why is it that I don't take my wife at least along with me. And these questions are normally asked by married men, very insensitive characters who don't understand that man needs his peace of mind. But very seriously, there are 2 reasons why I travel alone. One is, see, as organization members, as members of society, we spend a lot of quality time with our family and with significant others and our colleagues. But we seldom spend time with ourselves, to ourselves. In fact, I use these journeys to ask very inconvenient questions about myself and try to answer them as honestly as I can, with the intention of trying to bring about certain attitudinal, certain behavioral changes within myself. I don't know, Ranjit probably will be able to tell you whether I have changed in the last 6 years, but I feel a certain change within me. The second reason why I travel alone is that most of the journeys which I have done have either not been done before or they have been with a view to break records. Basically with a view to break time records. So you would not find enough time to rest en route, and also the fact that many of them could ask questions about whether it is the right thing to do at certain times. It could be matters which concern your health, it could be something which concerns your finances. So I wouldn't like to put others at risk. So for that reason alone, I prefer to travel alone. But I made an exception when I traveled to London. I had two other companions with me. But what happened during the course of the journey is also very interesting. One of the members questioned my leadership, and you all know Rosie. I also react like that. He had to get out of the journey. So that became so widely publicized that today nobody asks me whether they want to travel with me. So that way I'm very safe. I travel alone, nobody asks me anything. The second question which is normally asked is, what kind of a navigational aid do I use when I travel? Till very recently, in fact, till I did the London trip, I was very worried about using navigational aids for one very simple reason. One, apart from being technologically challenged, most important reason was that you have a lady's voice telling you to turn right and left, and then you somehow feel that you have never left home. So therefore, I thought that navigational devices are more of a psychological impediment rather than showing you the way. Honestly speaking, I never used them till I reached Poland during my London trip. There, one of the Indian friends who we met was so appalled that we were driving around Europe without a navigation equipment that he picked out one from his car and fitted it on ours. It did help us during the course of the journey, but even today I have not mastered the art of using navigational devices other than using my Google Maps. That I use, and I must tell you that they are fairly accurate and they have helped me quite a bit through even very, very wild areas. The next question which is normally asked is, what do you do in case you have an emergency? I don't know how many of you will believe if I tell you that I don't even know how to change the tire of a car, much less about the mechanics of it. I don't know, honestly. The faces say that you don't believe me, but believe me, I don't know. But you know, I believe in one thing very, very importantly. I believe that everything around us has a soul, including a car. It has a soul. So if you treat that soul with respect, it will give you service which is of respect. So I was asked by one of the people here as to how many breakdowns I have had. Touch wood, honestly, I have never had a breakdown. I have had a couple of tire blowouts, but I have never had a breakdown. I have had 5 accidents, but never a breakdown. It is because one, I feel I treat the car with respect, and second, I feel that our cars are so robust. Srikanth will vouch for that. I used his vehicle for 3 of my tough expeditions. Outstanding vehicles. I must say that, you know, Make in India is a great thing. The fourth thing which I am normally asked is, why do I travel? It's very easy for us to answer that. You know, it's basically to see new places, meet new people, appreciate cultures, good food or different liquor, all sorts of things. But over a period of time, I have come to realize that there is a very, very deeper meaning as to why I travel. I consider today that I travel, or I get the opportunity to travel, because I have to meet souls that travel with me through time and space. I'm a Christian. We don't believe in rebirth. But over a period of time, you know, when you travel, experience various things which are completely unexpected, meet people and engage or leverage their hospitality, which you are totally undeserving of, you realize there is something much greater. There is nothing as an accident. There is never such thing as an accident. Everything is by design. So there is a cosmic stage on which you are one of the players, and you are given your lines, you're given your costume. You play that, move away, come back again onto the stage with a different costume. So I feel these costume changes, you need to know your partners very well, or the players on the stage very well. So these opportunities to travel are opportunities to meet these fellow souls. There is a fifth question which is asked, but I will not deal with it now. I'll deal with it at the end. Ranjit said that one of the taglines of my drive is that goodwill knows no boundaries. Truly, when you travel around, you will realize that this comes to you with unfailing regularity. One of the examples. Excuse me. I was on my All India drive. At that time, in 2010-2011, traveling to Manipur was probably the most challenging drive anywhere in India. Even today, things have changed quite a bit, but I would say that Manipur still remains fairly challenged because things can change so dynamically, it can throw the spanner into the works. But those days, in 2010-11, there were chances of physical harm because, as I was given to understand, there are 32 underground outfits that were functioning in Manipur. So I was trying to find out the safest route to travel into Manipur. There were multiple routes, at least 4 of which I was made to know. Then I was told to avoid 3 of them. And I was told to take the least known amongst them, which was through jungles of Manipur. So I had to go to the southernmost district of a village of Mizoram to cross over into Manipur. I reached there at about 4:30 in the evening, and as you know, in the northeast it gets dark pretty soon. I didn't have a place to stay. I had a lot of luggage in my car. I walked around this small one-horse town village, and I found that there was a huge church there, a Presbyterian church. I went there and peeped inside and found that there were a lot of benches and desks there. So I thought if I could gain entrance into that church, I could spend time there because I had my sleeping bag and I could sleep on one of the benches there. So I walked around and then I came to a small little house in front of which was written Pastor Quarters. And there were 3 middle-aged gentlemen working on cementing their floor. And there was this young lady with a child tied to the back, serving them tea. So I asked that lady, can I meet the pastor please? I didn't get a response, so I thought probably she did not understand. So I repeated the question. And then a gentleman who was sitting down and cementing suddenly shot up, torn bunion and half pants and a sun hat. He said, yes, I am the pastor. So he said, what do you want? See, one of the advantages of traveling in the Northeast is that English is, everybody understands it. It's a very good language for communication. You don't need to know Hindi. So I said, I have traveled from Kerala. I'm on my way to Manipur. I need some place to sleep in the night. If you can open the church, I could spend the night there and I will leave at 2:30 in the morning. He said, where is your car? So I said, I parked it about a kilometer away. He said, you bring the car here. So I drove the car. He showed me a place to park it very close to his house. And he said, you bring out your luggage. He said, you spend the night in my house. Now, would we have done this if we had such an incident to face? If somebody had come and knocked at our door and said that I need some place to stay, will you offer your house to an unknown person? In fact, that person never asked me my name, just wanted to know where I've come from. Didn't want to know my religion, did not want to know my caste, why I was there, nothing. He shared his evening meal with his family. At 2:30 in the morning, he woke me up and gave me a bucket of hot water, which is very difficult in those places, and said goodbye to me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Is this not an example that goodwill knows no boundaries? Here is a person in Mizoram who didn't know me at all, but he was willing to open his doors for me. The other thing which amazed me was when we were traveling to London. We were passing through Tibet. From Nepal, we passed into Tibet. Beautiful place. I mean, for people who have been to Ladakh, you should appreciate the fact that Tibet is probably 3 times more beautiful. And outstanding people, excellent infrastructure in terms of, I'm comparing it to Ladakh. Excellent infrastructure and wonderful people. So we had traveled through Tibet for about 7 days. And then we were about to cross the Tibetan autonomous region into what we call China. I was a bit wistful because I would be missing this and I never knew when I would be able to get back. So after lunch, we decided to just walk around a little bit to take some pictures. So as we were walking out of the restaurant, there was this middle-aged Tibetan guy who walked past us. And when he saw us, he stopped and asked our guide, Indian? So the guide explained, yes, they are from India. So then we walked around, took pictures, and then later came to our car, and I started the car, and I was about to move, when from a distance, I could see this middle-aged Tibetan running towards us with a white piece of cloth in his hand. So the guide who was with us told me, stop the engine, he's coming to say some prayers. So this gentleman comes, stands in front of the car. The white shawl which he was carrying, it's a prayer flag apparently, he ties it around the special lights of the car, stands in genuflection in front of the car for some time, and then says goodbye. We didn't know this gentleman. We didn't even talk. Goodwill knows no boundaries. Another example. We were at a place called the Petergoff, a beautiful place in St. Petersburg, the beautiful palace and gardens of Peter the Great. We went into the car park, and as we were parking the car, there was this burly Russian. Russians are burly, of course. I think probably would match his size slightly more. So, this guy, I think could make out that he was trying to read what was written on the car. We had put decals on the car which indicated the route which we were taking from Cochin to London. And as we opened the car and got down, he smiled. So then I had a small giveaway, which was a takeaway, which was basically a bookmark. So as we got down, I handed over a bookmark to him and smiled at him. I don't know whether he understood English, but he took that, smiled and left. We spent about 2 hours going around the place. When we came back, the car park attendant came to me and gave me a plastic bag. So I said, what is this? He said, you know, that person with whom you were speaking, he came and handed over this to me and said that it should be given to you. When I opened it, I found that it was a locally crafted leather hat on which, I don't know whether he had written or he had got it written. Well, welcome to St. Petersburg anytime, summer of 2014. Isn't this goodwill that knows no boundaries? From the time when we were very small, as children, my mother used to teach us a prayer called the prayer of the guardian angel. And at that time she used to say that if at all you perceive any trouble, you call upon your guardian angel. The belief is that when we are born, there is also an angel attached to us, who's supposed to be known as the guardian angel, who's supposed to guard us through our life. When we are young, you feel that the whole world revolves because of your efforts. But after a certain time, you realize that there are things which are much beyond you. So you come across situations where you have to call upon the guardian angel. I would like to tell you a couple of these instances. One was when I was driving from Kanyakumari to Leh. I was trying to break the existing record of 147 hours of doing one leg. So I reached Manali very much in time, and ahead of me were just 2 more days. I was supposed to go up to Sarchu via the Rohtang Pass the next day, and the day after I was supposed to reach Leh to set a record. I reached Manali. I was staying in the railway rest house. So I told the attendant, a youngster, I told him that I will be leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning. So he said, where are you going? So I said, I'm on my way to Leh. He said, but how can you go? The road is closed. There has been a massive landslide, and for the last 4 days the road has been closed. So I don't think the road will be open. Anyway, he found out later in the evening that certain high officials were supposed to get across to Rohtang Pass. So the GREF was working overtime there. And they said probably by about 6 o'clock in the morning the road will be open. So the attendant told me, sir, there will be very heavy traffic because a lot of trucks are held up because with essential supplies to Leh, they're all held up. Plus that was the tourist season. a lot of taxis are also waiting. So you better leave at 3:30 in the morning so that you can get ahead and wait for the road to open. So I reached this place which was, forded at about 4:30 in the morning. I reached there. And then I had nothing to do. I walked across to the barrier which was manned by an army man. And then he said, yeah, you can see on top of the hill, people are working. 6 o'clock, I'm sure you can go. So I came back to my car. It was quite cold. I sat inside my car. It was a Swift, newly acquired Swift, Maruti Swift vehicle, branded beautifully by Rotary Finance. And I decided to take a short nap because the previous evening I didn't have much of rest. At about 5:30, I could hear some scratching noises on the window. I woke up and I found that there were a lot of faces looking at me, as if they were in a zoo or something like that. So I was a bit alarmed. I wondered whether there was some problem with the car. So I opened the car. I asked them, hey, what's the problem? So they said, where are you going? So I said, I'm going to Leh. They were all taxi drivers in various vehicles. So he said, this car, you cannot go. Even in an Innova, we won't be able to go because there is a landslide and that place is very slushy. This vehicle does not have the traction to get on top. They had sowed seeds of doubt in my mind, but then I decided, no, I will go. I will try. And if I fail, fine. But without trying, I shall not return. So I waited. Exactly at 6 o'clock, the place opened. But mad rush. You know how, once the gate is open, you know how people behave. The mad rush. And by about, say, 8 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours it took me to reach probably about 3 kilometers, inch by inch by inch. And I was waiting, and then I was looking at what exactly is the problem. Then I could find that there was a very steep incline going down, and there was a steeper incline going up. And vehicles, you can imagine lorries were struggling, there were lorries pulling and towing and all that kind of stuff. So I was waiting my turn. When on the opposite side of the road, I heard somebody saying, hey, I opened my window. He said, this is a Kerala registration vehicle. I said, yeah, it is. I'm from Kerala. He said, I'm going to Leh. I'm from Kerala, but I have a orchard in Manali, in Kulu. So I keep going to Leh regularly. But let me advise you, please turn your car here and go back. Because if you get stuck there, they will pick up your car, because it's a small car, with one of their big cranes and put it on top of the hill. You will neither have the vehicle to go back, nor will you be able to find your transport down. So you better turn back here. Further doubts. You have to take a call. I decided, no, I will try. And if it is my fate to fail, I shall fail. Otherwise, I will succeed. My turn came. I started taking the incline in the first gear. The gear just stopped functioning in less than a minute. It started skidding. Very, very, very slushy. So what these people were trying to do is to build a kind of a culvert across, a water path of the waterway. My car skidded, lost complete traction. I went and hit the culvert, and I could feel grating noises under the car. Then naturally, when you do that, you have a tendency to give more throttle. You press on the accelerator more. The car just spluttered and died. So I said it is my turn for the car to be put on the hillside. And that is the only thing which will happen. So I just sat there and I started sweating with AC on. And suddenly, a small little man came to my window, knocked. I opened the window. He said, in Hindi, he said, your intention is to go up? I said, yes, of course, it's to go up. He said, I will help you. He was actually one of the contractor staff there of the Gref. He brought 20 people. He lifted the car, virtually lifted the car with me inside, because I couldn't get down. There was 2 feet of slush, I couldn't get down. Lifted the car, packed under, and then told me to put in neutral. They pushed it up for about 5 feet. Then he said, you wait here, let me do the packing on the culvert. He packed the culvert, came to me and he said, now I have done that, you will get over the culvert, but you will not be able to climb up unless you drive the way I asked you to drive. I said, what is that? So he said, you see the stick? I will walk up. I'll walk up that incline. I will draw a pattern on the incline. You must drive exactly the same way as the pattern. And he explained, he said, don't drive straight. If you drive straight, your tread will get filled up with mud and muck. You will never be able to move. So drive zigzag. So he drew a pattern on the incline, and in 4.5 minutes, I was up and away. And where did the man come from? You find guardian angels in all shapes and sizes. If he was not there that day, I wouldn't have been here to tell you this story. Similarly, I was on this drive back from Kanyakumari from Leh to Kanyakumari. My intention was to do a sub 100-hour drive from Leh to Kanyakumari. I reached Nagpur, took rest, and my next halt was supposed to be Bangalore. I decided not to rest at Bangalore. I decided to drive through, which meant that I was driving 18 hours non-stop. 27 hours non-stop for 1,800 kilometers. And Kanyakumari was my final point or my destination. Somewhere close to Tirunelveli, I dozed off. I was feeling quite fresh, but there are a lot of doubts which appear in your mind, as you're nearing your end point. What happens if there is a breakdown now? All my efforts of having driven all the way from Leh to Kanyakumari, at the last lap, you will fail. These kind of doubts assail your mind. I don't know, in these thoughts, I must have dozed because I suddenly heard a sound. It actually came from a milkman who was on his moped at 5:30 in the morning. He was on the wrong side of the road and he was going to deliver milk. And I was going off the road and into a field. If he had not made that noise and if I had not woken up, I would have landed up in the field. But imagine, I had my AC on, I had music on. How did I hear that sound? This is again the work of a guardian angel. There's no doubt about it. So this is where I will leave you with guardian angels. I think I have another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. There are times when I am asked whether I am ever scared. I would be very dishonest if I tell you that I get scared. There are instances when you get extremely scared. I will leave you with one instance. I told you that on the All India drive, I was to drive to Manipur. I couldn't drive through Mizoram. I had to finally come back and then attempted through the main road from Kohima to Imphal. That's a very historic road. That's the road on which there was this Japanese invasion or incursion into India during the Second World War. But I stayed in Kohima overnight, and then you read newspapers wherever you go. You pick up a newspaper there, and then what they report are how many people have been abducted, what kind of ransom has been paid, how many dacoities have been there, who has been killed. This is the main news. So when you read this, your knees have a tendency to hit against each other with a lot of fright. So next day early morning, I was to leave for Imphal. So I rang up a friend of mine who studied with me in Loyola here, and he was based in Imphal. So I told him, KB Singh, I am on my way. So he said, Suresh, I am responsible for you only after you reach Imphal. On the way, if something happens, don't even try my number. I don't want anybody to know my number. That was the situation prevailing at that time. So you come from Kohima, on the way to Imphal, there is a place called the Mao Gate, which is the entry into Manipur. Now, when you have read all these things and you have heard from people various gory stories, as I came to the gate, I thought, there were a lot of people looking at me. Natural, it's very natural. You see a car which is not registered anywhere in that part of the country. So there were a lot of people looking at me, but then I had a lot of apprehension in my mind. Honestly, I was very scared. And people have told me that there will be a lot of extortion on the way, you will have to pay up money, and my car was loaded with a lot of stuff, cameras and stuff like that. So, with a lot of prayer in my mind, I just drove. The roads are not very great. It's only about 100 kilometers from the Mao Gate to Imphal. Roads are not very great. It takes about 3.5 hours. It did take about 3.5 hours at that time. But about 20 kilometers down the road, I suddenly found two vehicles in the rear racing towards me. I said, yeah, this is the modus operandi. And one was a Nagaland registered vehicle and one was a Manipur registered vehicle. So I thought, these are the extortionists coming, they're going to stop me now, and then this is the end of my journey. So I could see them racing, one of them was trying to overtake me. So at a particular point, strategically I thought, why don't I permit one of them to overtake? So I permitted the Nagaland vehicle to overtake. And I found that they didn't stop me, they were driving. So then I used that as a beautiful strategy. I said, let me travel in between this Manipur and Nagaland vehicle. So we traveled further, about 50 kilometers past, and I started getting a bit more confident. I said, I've got a pilot and an escort, why should I bother? Then suddenly I found the car ahead slowed down as we were getting to a blind turn across a hill. The car slowed down, I also slowed down, and then it came to a stop. Then we could make out that there was a red ribbon across the road, and there were young kids on either side of the road. They still had the ribbon, and 3 or 4 of them came to the vehicle in front of me. And I couldn't see very much, but I could make out that this man was paying something. So I said, okay, so this is the extortion racket. So I was prepared for it. These people came to me and said, Uncle, see, these roads are very bad. Through day and night we are working here to make it motorable for people like you. So please give us some contribution. I said, my God, this is all that they want. So I took out a 100 rupee note from my pocket. I didn't have small change. I gave it to them. And they were so happy, so they were so grateful. There was a small rivulet, running by the side. One of them ran with a bucket. He picked up water from them and splashed it on my car so that my windshield got cleaned. So I said, see, this is payment for both up and down. I'm going, and 3 days back I'm back. Uncle, no problem, you go. So that was it. But, it scared me no end. And those kind of situations when you are alone, when you ask, how is it that you drive alone? There are situations like these which scare you. And if you have a partner, probably that scare can get exponentially higher. And especially if you have your better half, you know what can happen. You probably wouldn't have any hair left on your head. Anyway, so these are the kind of things, there are situations when you feel scared, but if you panic, that is the end of the story. If you've decided to take the trip, you have to go through it, because you must understand that one of the greatest things that you learn from these kind of travels is to conquer the fear of the unknown. That is one of the greatest things that travel has taught me. It has made me conquer the fear of the unknown. And if I tell you, you will think that it is very gaulish. I am really waiting for death. Because that is the greatest adventure, which we know nothing about. And that is not an unknown for me anymore. I don't fear that unknown anymore. It is something which, it may sound very gaulish. But the fact is that today, I feel that is probably the greatest adventure, completely unplanned, that you can look forward to. The other thing which I learned is that there is no point cribbing about the micro. Something which happens today is part of a larger whole, which you are not able to see at this point of time. But when you remove yourself from that particular incident, it's like, landing in Chennai airport. When you look at, erstwhile Katipara Junction, when you're landing, you find that everything is going on very smoothly. When you're from the air, you think everything is going on smoothly. But go down, take a taxi and get into the junction, you realize that things are not what it looked from above. So God sees that from above. He sees order. He doesn't see the chaos. He doesn't feel the need to come there and intervene in Katipara Junction at that point in time. So that is where you start appreciating the macros rather than the micros. Another factor which I have realized is that unless you give people around you time to grow, time for them to develop as individuals, as professionals, you have no escape from the kind of job or the kind of business which you are doing. So you must practice what is called the principle of redundancy. You must make yourself redundant at your workplace, and even, not speciously saying as a family member, in the sense that you must permit people around you to grow. For instance, looking at a workplace, There are times, when I was a youngster in the railways, people used to say, exceptional talent, wonderful potential. These are all traps. These are all traps. We are today doing that to our youngsters also. Because we want them there. They are the key people. If they grow out of their chairs, we don't have anybody else to bank on. So please make sure that you enable people down below you to take on your chair so that you can challenge your boss's chair. That should be the proportion. Similarly, I feel that if I had not empowered my wife, even today I would have been carrying grocery bags. But that is not something I think which is an objective in life. So these are the small things which you learn as you travel. There is one advice which I normally give to youngsters, that they must travel. There are two reasons why they must travel. In fact, age is no bar for travel, but if youngsters travel, the world can become a better place. Because today, we are living increasingly in an era where there is intolerance, ignorance. And if people do not travel and see and experience different cultures and different food habits, different environments, you will realize that men are the same everywhere. They laugh and cry the same way. They may dress differently, they may eat different foods, they may practice different religions, but people are the same everywhere. This kind of tolerance can happen only if you travel. And the second thing is, you must kick your youngsters out of their comfort zones. The more they get into their comfort zones, the more useless they become. Whether it is at home or as a societal member, they are useless. In fact, how this came to my attention was I was delivering a keynote address in a college. I was asking them, it was SCMS college, so I asked them about the previous year's placement. So I said, do you get placements outside Kerala? They said, yes. Last year we got placement for 2 people in Bombay and 1 person in Delhi. I said, are they happy? In 3 months they returned because they said they can't adjust to the North Indians. See, this is what is happening in our country. People want to work in their own villages. They don't want to get out of this. Okay, I come to the last part of it. I told you that there is one more question which is normally asked of me. This question, ladies, please shut your ears, is normally asked of me by slightly elderly people. They ask me, how do you get your wife's permission to travel? Anybody wants to know?
Don't ask permission.
No, anybody wants to know?
Leave a shirt in the morning.
I'm a consultant. I will leave my number. Please call. Thank you very much.
Can we also call you?
No,
Ladies?
I
Can
didn't.
we also call you?
No, darling, I only asked you to shut your ears, but I never said that I will not take on your consultancy.